Hello there, this is Rom Wills coming back at you with yet another video. Alternative Black Playas. Yo, let me give a shout out to a poster. I hope I pronounce this right. It's like, yeah, bitch. That's their name. Look, check it out, right? I was a brother had commented on one of my videos, and I have the video in the description box about Outlier Sistas and whatnot, right? And I had a couple, that natural hair wearing, got some homemade jewelry, dressed different type of sisters as the thumbnail, right? So check it out. Anyway, right, he was talking about like the dudes in that community, right? Because you get some of those groups and stuff, people in there, they had the poetry readings, they all up in Afro punk. They in the goth communities, punk community, like the stuff that you traditionally, they into the stuff traditionally black people aren't associated with. And, you got a lot of dudes up in there, but you know what? They ain't on no simp shit or anything like that. They be getting theirs. They just stay in their lane and stuff, right? Because you know what? They got that same aesthetic. They just a male version of it. They got the elongated, the big old thing stretching out their ears, piercings in their eye and all of that stuff, and their lips. Maybe more artistic type of tattoos if they got them. They got that funky style of dressing and everything. Man, they be tearing the fuck up. And that's one thing I've always said. The environment that you doing your thing in is very important. See, like a dude can be in one environment and be non-select, like the women ain't checking for him, then get in another one and the women loving him, right? Like you get some dudes, right? Say they like more upper middle class, they got their education and everything, and they go into some more rough areas, some hood areas. Like the women might not want to deal with them or something. They might look at them like they too soft or something like that. But then they go in a community or area where it's similar type of women, like the similar values, educated, attractive, and all of that. It's something totally different. Like, I'm gonna tell you what, especially in black relationships, there's all these people who got the doom and gloom and all that, and they just ending. But to be honest, for the real like black upper class, they ain't really complaining. They just chilling. They just looking at that like, yeah, we'll let those Negroes do their thing. But that's an environment thing. Or if you like, you look in any type of community. Like if you look in, like I know there's a lot of people who talk about black women, being overweight and all this. But then you got kind of like subcultures, communities of black women on that fitness thing, and so they be looking for fitness dudes, right? And you can break. There's a lot of little subcultures and stuff, and like these alternative black players, they basically said, look, first of all, they don't care about none of this stuff we talking. They focus on their little community. Now, if you got a situation where you in that community, you basically have to, you have to look the part. So you get dudes who might not, in general, I talk about, hitting the gym, getting some muscles on you and stuff, or, having that certain attitude. But then that same thing might not work with a woman in that community. One thing about relationships, people, the root word is relate. So you ain't going, if you get some of these sisters, and I've met plenty, like a brother, like an average brother might think, okay, well, I got my education, I got I dress well, I'm all right. But then they checking out one of these alternative type of sisters, and she's looking at them like, And then you get some dude who's like on some artist thing, or some creative type of thing, and you know what, they got more piercings than the woman and stuff, everything pierced and everything, and shoot, might even have like speech intonation that's not considered stereotypically black. But the women like going crazy. I've met those types. You know, those dudes be like, and they be on some calm stuff. They don't even be talking like all this game stuff. But then they got the women lined up just because that's where they at. It's an interesting thing. And see, you know, part of what I want to talk about was them. But, you know, there's only so much I could say. But, you know, and I've said this in other things. People got to figure out where their tribe is, where their group is, where their subculture is. Right? You know, I know certain, you know, already know I can look at certain women and make a judgment and say, okay, me getting with her going to be kind of difficult. In fact, usually with me, and I'll say this with me, I get the most attention from women who look like they up in the church a lot. Because on my normal basis, I kind of have a conservative look. But then if you get some women, they into that street life, I don't have enough tats and, you know, I don't have enough tats for them. You know, but that's the thing. See, in developing, any man in developing his game, and when I say game, just his overall presentation, his style, how he's going to attract women, he got to think about, all right, what community am I in? And then what type of women I want to attract. Then you have to be there. Like, say some brother's a suit and type of guy, right? Conservative looking, and all of a sudden he develops a liking for those Afro-punk type of women, you know, alternative type of women. That dude gonna have to go through a transformation. You know, that dude's gonna have to go through a transformation, and I've seen this. I've seen dudes who would be, you know, the average mainstream type, if as much of mainstream there is in Black America, which is usually like really kind of middle class sensibilities and Christian values. I'll say that, like just some connection with the church. I've seen dudes like that, you know, they get clowned by somebody who's maybe on a Pan-African tip or something like that. Like, I've seen some sisters in there, some like badass sisters. Like, if they put a perm in their hair, regular perm, and put on like a business suit or just something more mainstream instead of, you know, whatever they wearing, you know, whatever African clothing they wearing or something. Or, well, okay, I was going to throw something in there. I ain't going to do that. But, you know, I've seen those type, you know, they'll pass over that stereotypical type of dude, and they like, well, shoot, does he have an RBG like tattoo or something, some red, black, and green on him? Is he wearing an Ankh or something? You know, he got to have some type of indication that he's down for this, and that's very important. Even when y'all in, like, for the guys just in general, that's a skill to develop, right? That is a skill to develop. Figure out where she at. Because a little secret, a woman deep down going to want a reflection of her values. And just like as a man, well, see, it's different for a man. I'm going to tell you why it's different for a man. Men, the average man, I ain't saying all men, but the average man just looking at that fat ass. I've seen it happen. They just looking at the fat ass. Women are a bit pickier because women don't just pick according to like a physical type or something, but then a cultural type. See, men will go outside of it quick. She got a fat ass and big breasts, sisters. We checking her out hard. We like, we don't care. Shit. And I've seen some brothers complain about that. They try to mess with some woman outside their you know, their subculture or social class or whatever. Can't figure out why she rejected it. Like, even but women, they pretty much, they don't really cross out of it. It's very extremely rare. Honestly, I haven't really seen it. I'll put it like that. I'm trying to think of some time I've seen something like that happen. Even if the dude is like drop dead handsome to her and got money, if it ain't in her exact social class, because I've seen hood type of women, they just reject a dude they would call bougie. You know, bougie women. You know, if you got tats on you and all that, got that like so-called rough thing, or looking like a thug, they ain't bothering with you. And I know some dude will come on here and say, before you do it, or come on here and say, well, what about all those middle class women mess with thugs? And I've said this in videos before. Look at her background. Look at where she came from. Because you can't don't go by what you see them during the workday. Go by what they do when they are away from the work environment. There's a lot of women that switch up, They be up there doing a business deal, and then at night, they smoking a spliff or something. So, you know what? Always pay attention to that. Always pay attention to that. Yeah, and I wasn't going to do a whole thing on alternative black players. Just illustrate a point and get your attention a little bit. Anyway, it's something to seriously think about. There, any guys, and you checking out a woman, just say, do you reflect what she'll value? That's going to tell you before you even approach. If you're going to approach her, that tells you a lot. Because I've had, like I say, I look conservative, so I get a certain type of woman automatically. Now, I've surprised some other women in other little subcultures because I can kind of go across them. But if I'm just going to just some pure physical appearance, I'll just say I do very well. I go to a church conference or something and just sit there and chill. Be like, the women be on me. And on a cold-blooded tip, I always thought if I decide I want to be a minister or something, shoot, I have a mega church in a year. But anyway, right? That's it. I just want to throw that out there for you. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.